This podcast contains strong adult content, probably crude language, and general fuckery. So put those kids away. Get them out of here.
Good evening. In a landmark ruling, the Supreme Court today legalized abortion.
Huge increases in sexually transmitted diseases.
Transgender rights is a fundamental human right.
There is a right to marriage equality. I repeat, speaking to you from the steps of the Supreme Court, there is a right to marriage equality.
Should sex education be taught to our kids?
Rolling back contraceptive coverage for women.
To make sure that women get the health care that they need. So we've got a lot of work in front of us. Thank you very much.
Hey, what's up, you guys?
Hey!
This is Frisky History.
That's right.
Yeah, we're a podcast series that explores the humorous, bizarre, and sometimes horrifying history of reproductive health, relationships, and sex. I am Lacey.
I am Robyn.
Yay! Oh, we did that together. So we didn't even practice that.
Look at us.
Pure genius.
So
That's how we do things. Okay. How are you?
Hung over.
Such a good state to be in.
Yeah. I went to my first drag show last night, and it was...
Like first ever?
Yeah, like I had never seen drag before. I watched Drag Race,
right?
RuPaul's Drag Race, but I finally went, and it was like euphoric. There's a drag queen named Meatball, and she sang Woman, or lip sync Woman by Kesha.
Yes.
And she came out dressed as, she had like this huge red wig, and she had like a dress that was yellow and had like red and white pinstripes to like look, and it had like the McDonald's arches on the front, and she had like sesame seeds on it.
Oh my
and she came out with a bag of like 20 hamburgers and was just launching them into the crowd.
That is beautiful.
Did
you catch one?
So hard. I didn't.
Did you? No, you were too busy drinking a pitcher of beer by yourself.
I was. That's exactly what I was doing. But there was one guy. She kept launching them, and like his drink fell over on him like 2 different times.
That's so lucky him. You know,
it was great.
It's like
really
you
fun.
feel like he's really getting the full experience. Like he's got hit with 2 hamburgers and spilt his drink.
It was fantastic.
That's amazing. I've only ever seen one drag show, and it was like a part of an art show. So it was like you went in, you spent a little while walking around, looking at photography. A lot of it had to do with drag queens, and some of it was just, it was beautiful, and then others were like trying to be a little more, I think, on the experimental side. So it was, I don't get art usually. I'm not smart enough. But then they did a drag show, and it was like at the peak of Lady Gaga. So not that she's really stopped peaking. Yeah. But I think it was like right after, I think it was right when her second album maybe came out. So it was a little while ago. And it was great. It was so super, super fun. I went with my best friend, and it was basically the same thing, just like some really fun lip singing and showmanship, theatrics. It was wonderful.
Yeah, it was a great time. So everybody should go at some point in their lives, because it was fucking dope. But how's your week going?
Fine. I haven't done anything.
Literally.
Period. That was the end of my sentence. I really haven't done anything except I bleached my hair, and that was fun because it looks sad, and it's fine. Currently I have yellow hair. It's fun.
It's fun
being young. But yeah, I don't have much to report this week. No terrifying things have happened, which is like a bummer.
That is a bummer.
And, you know, I've just been working on this episode that I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't suck, but I originally, this is very much like your last episode. I went into this thinking I was going to this episode on one thing, and then in trying to fill out the backstory for the topic I wanted to do, I ended up filling up like 6 pages worth of information, and I was like, so clearly this won't fit into an hour. And so I decided to break this into 2 parts. So good little 2-parter. So first of all, the thing that we were going to talk about originally is a very amazing badass lady named Estelle Griswold.
Okay.
Don't Google it, people. No spoilers.
Okay.
on history. But before we can really talk about Estelle, we have to talk about this real dick. His name,
the real one.
He's a real dick, and his name is Anthony Comstock.
Mm-hmm.
There is a video game called BioShock. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but the third game, BioShock Infinite, has the villain in that game. His name is Comstock, and I'm pretty sure that it is at least very much inspired by Anthony Comstock.
Really?
Yes, gamers, you'll understand why once I get into it, but he's the worst. So, in the late 1800s, 25,000 Valentines were refused by the Chicago Post Office on the grounds that they were too passionate to be delivered.
Whoa.
Yes. Oh my God.
What?
Your mystery package. That must be what happened to it.
Oh my God. It was too passionate.
It was too passionate to be delivered. The UPS guy was like, whoa.
I still have no idea.
We still don't know what that is?
No, it sucks.
If you've forgotten, listeners, last week,
last week?
Well, it will be in podcast timeline. Last week, Robyn received a note that she was supposed to be having a package, but then that package disappeared.
Yeah, I was supposed to sign for it, and I wasn't there, and I went to the post office, and they were like, that's weird, it looks like it was sent from overseas, and all that stuff. So they were like, we'll call you. And I was like, freaking out, because there's nothing I can do. I'm just waiting.
And we still have no idea what it is.
Yeah, they're probably uncomfortable with how passionate it was.
Mystery solved.
We're all
too passionate. Yeah. So if you're sending, if you're mysteriously sending Robyn packages, just beware. Tone it down.
Please. Okay. For the love of God.
She just wants to get the packages, please.
So many passionate letters.
I know.
I can't keep track.
It's awful. Okay, but why? Why did this happen? Why did Chicago not want to give people their Valentines? Rude.
What year was this again?
This was in the late 1800s. Okay. I don't have an exact date for it.
Okay, cool.
So the reason that this happened is the act. It's a law, basically. And I'm going to tell you the name of it. It's going to take about 5 minutes because it's so fucking long.
Oh my God.
The Act for the Suppression of Trade in and Circulation of Obscene Literature and Articles of Immoral Use.
Whoa.
Okay, so it wasn't as that long, but it's so many words. This is why you hire copywriters.
Yeah.
No one wants to read that every time.
Yeah.
Suppression of trade in and circulation of obscene literature and articles of immoral use.
That's nuts.
Luckily, you don't have to remember that. So just forget everything I just said. Because this is also known as the Comstock Law, obviously named after our very friend. Dear Tony Comstock. I'm going to call him Tony.
Tony.
We're friends. Tony, he's crazy. No. So to break it down, the Comstock Law is a federal act that was passed by the United States Congress on May 3rd, 1873. Mm-hmm. So the Valentine thing had to happen after 1873. Mm-hmm. 1874. I don't know.
Sure.
And it criminalized the usage of the U.S. Postal Service to send any obscene items.
Okay.
So Comstock's idea of what constituted as obscene is super broad and means a whole lot of things. Huh. You'll see the full extent of it in a little while, but just know it's a lot of things.
Wow.
So to just kind of set up what America is like during this time. This was the later part of the 19th century, and it was known as the Gilded Age, and that is derived from Mark Twain's novel, The Gilded Age. A Tale of Today. You're not going to find... It's hard to see the connection, but they are, I promise. No,
Just stick with us for a minute.
So, yeah, thanks to Mark Twain, we call it The Gilded Age. And his novel basically said that this period of time was glittering on the surface. It was golden and beautiful on the surface, but underneath it was like super fucked up. And this is kind of where America was. Electricity had just started to become a part of everyday life. The oil and steel businesses were huge economic powers. Railroad development was well on its way, very much like booming at the time. And then quite a few people, not a lot, but a nice chunk of people in America got really, really rich. And then there were also the other people. So at the same time, at the same time as the United States basically becoming the largest industrial nation in the world, there were just these huge waves of immigrants coming into America. And then there was also nothing put into place to stabilize how much growth was happening at the time. And so there's just so many people and nothing in the way of systems that can manage them or help them in any way. So it's like you have this part of society that is super fabulously wealthy, greedy as fuck, the worst. No offense, rich people. And then it's just like on the other side, total fucking chaos. There's like so much poverty. There is so much corruption happening. And that's in like government systems, police enforcement, that kind of corruption. And then there's waste and pollution everywhere because all these industrial things happening and people hadn't really figured out how to get rid of stuff. Yeah. And rampant illness. And then also this world of like flourishing vices like sex and a lot of other immoral activities. So basically like 2017.
Yeah, I'm literally like, check,
all of this
check.
I was kind of shocked how much of this stuff that is in here that I felt from the 1800s that I could is like still totally happening.
Yeah, it fucking sounds like modern day, and that's what's so upsetting.
So far.
We really,
and then
fucking...
We went so far backwards.
Yeah, this is what a species.
God, I know. I need to drink some wine. Hang on.
I'm so stressed out.
Okay, so on top of the way that America's changing, there's a bunch of other weird, random things that played a part into this like obscenity panic that Comstock kind of led. And one of those things is the American Civil War. So part of that is that there was this terrible, bloody civil war and the emancipation of slaves happened. And there was a split in Americans who wanted to just return to like a simpler life. And then there were Americans who were looking for this like nationwide spiritual and moral revival. I didn't for sure find out what side, but I'm going to guess it was more of those like southern states that wanted the spiritual and moral revival. I don't know that for sure. That's just a straight guess. Yeah. But they were kind of against the winning side of the Civil War, so it makes sense that they'd be like, you need Jesus. But really, the thing that the Civil War did was just a bunch of dudes who were kind of depressed because they just got done fighting their countrymen and like, going to war without ever really leaving home, in a sense. They just really enjoyed porn.
Yeah.
They just wanted porn. And so that played a part into why people felt they needed to stop porn. Another thing that kind of led to this is that the development of this upper class that is so separate from lower class. The upper class citizens were worried about how quickly lower class citizens were procreating. So it's like, you're outnumbering us already. You're already outnumbering us, but now you're outnumbering us because you're popping out babies. Which later, when you look at the things they're trying to stop, it's like you're literally stopping all the things that could stop them from having children, but it's fine.
Wow.
Those, again, I'm guessing, it's upper class citizens, but a lot of people also thought that maybe the immigrants who were coming into the country at the time were tainting the moral fabric of the United States with their radical political beliefs and permissive attitudes about sex.
Oh, Lord.
So, of course, blame immigrants sounds...
2017.
Oh my God. I'm still going. There's several more weird random things that are just like all creating this dangerous storm. Known as Tony Comstock. So the American Medical Association, they were worried about the dangers of abortion, both just to women's health, but also to a woman overlooking the duties imposed on her by the marriage contract. So it's like, and you lost me. So sorry. The Catholic Church, of course, condemned abortion and birth control as evil twins. And the probably biggest player in this is the New York Young Men's Christian Association, which is the YMCA.
Wow!
I know. The YMCA.
Shit, I forgot.
Yeah, I know. I honestly hadn't really thought about that's what it was called either.
Yeah.
Because I always just think of the fucking
Village People.
Village People. Were we just talking about the Village People the other day?
We were.
I don't know why,
Yeah.
but okay.
We saw a construction worker.
That was yeah, that's right. There was just a construction worker in the street.
We're like, nice.
Naturally.
Nice.
Village People. So the YMCA in New York published a memorandum respecting New York as a field for moral and Christian effort among young men. You guys got to work on these names. Whew, so much. But what it said is that younger men in the society were spending too much of their free time in saloons and gambling halls and brothels, just having fun, being kids, you know? And they use this, like, data, hard quote. Yeah. I did that in person, and that makes no sense for a audio medium. But
that's right.
a hard quote, they use these data points as like a call to action to investigate whether or not a law had been put in place to reprimand and confiscate things like obscene literature, aka porn.
Oh, nice.
And then there's one more thing that only applies to Comstock. It is strictly just something that happened to him that really kind of like fucking just pushed him over the edge. And that is his friend dying. And his friend, according to Comstock, his friend was led astray and corrupted and diseased, which people have taken to mean, I guess, like they says which suggests that. That's what the actual research said.
Yeah.
But they've taken it to mean that his friend basically contracted a venereal disease that was connected to masturbation.
Oh.
So he literally like choked the chicken to death. Basically, he masturbated, and I think his system was kind of susceptible to illness and masturbated too much, and got himself like some sort of nerve affecting disease, nervous disease, because that sounds like it's the disease is nervous, but it's not.
I have that.
I think that, I think it was something that had to do with his nerves, but anyways, he died.
Wow.
Yeah, because he masturbated too much.
He whacked it.
Just kept
Whacking
too much.
it.
He did it too much.
Is
So
that a phrase?
for this, yeah, I think that's a phrase.
Whacking it.
I learned so many phrases for masturbation because I Googled them. I was just wanted to read some like euphemisms for it. And like I was most surprised by beat the bishop.
Oh my
I had to have Danny explain to me why that was a saying.
I've also never heard choke the chicken, but I immediately understand.
Really?
It.
I feel like that's a God, why do I know that? I don't know. So instead of just accepting his friend's death and moving on, he decided to blame a guy named Charles Conroy. Pretty much just because he's the guy that sold his friend erotic materials from his basement. Yeah. And don't buy porn from a basement. That's like serial killer 101.
Rule number 1.
Do not do that. Don't buy things from anyone in a basement.
No.
Don't go in basements.
Never.
You're asking
Lock
for
'em
so
up.
many things to happen to you when you walk into basements. It's just awful idea.
Yeah, I agree.
So all of these random weird things, and especially the YMCA, because they were kind of the real driving force behind this, led to a bill being passed in 1868 that Tony Comstock, good old Tony, he's only in his young 20s, but he creates, based on this bill, he creates a society to enforce it. He said that he was determined to act the part of a good citizen. So he created the New York Society for the Suppression of Vice. And he was just like eradicating vices. Can it be plural? I think it can. Let's just say it can. Vices. Bye. He's eradicating vices left and right. So it's like, fucking, you do that, you say a curse word, you're out. You're done. Gambling, no, can't do that. Don't do that. No more non-procreative sex. So no fun ever at all. Do nothing fun. So find Jesus. Those are your things.
Were there repercussions?
Yes.
I imagine.
Yes. They were actually arresting people. They were not arresting at this point. They were not arresting them themselves. They were just presenting them to the police to be arrested, basically. So they just stood there and they supervised. I don't know if they stood. They might have sat. I don't know. They supervised newsstands and bookstores. They would hold up markets where lascivious information could reach the public.
What?
I don't know what that means, really.
Almost like setups?
Basically he was a total fucking narc. That's what he was.
It's a big fucking narc.
He's just a total fucking narc. So, but they attacked places, they seized any information, they raided entire places, and they pretty much had just the ability to do anything.
Right.
Really, there were no rules.
That's
So, cool.
So he worked, or I guess was a part of the YMCA.
Yeah, right? So I think the YMCA, they kind of connected because he also lived in New York at the time. Yeah. So they kind of connected and then together created that New York Society for the Suppression of Vices. Vice. And then he really fucking just took ownership and led the fucking charge with the backing of the YMCA and all the people, who just wanted to make those proper young boys.
Jeez.
But he even had his own terms, like comstockery. Comstockery and Comstockism. Comstockism. That's it. Comstockism.
Horrible word.
And he used these extensively when he went on a campaign to really start censoring material that he considered to be indecent. Mm-hmm. He was just fucking throwing those words around.
Oh God.
Use it in a sentence, Tony.
Comstockery.
Comstockism.
I
don't. Is that that's a belief, a practice? I am a comstockist?
It just sounds awful. Oh my God.
I love it. Okay, so they had this society. They had an actual bill passed, but it wasn't enough. They were not satisfied with the amount of power that they had or the amount of obscene things that this original bill covered. It wasn't unconstitutional enough to really fucking push it. It's already none of your fucking business, but how can it be more not any of my business?
Exactly.
And what they considered to be the weaknesses of the law were that it didn't include newspapers.
Oh.
Obviously. I always say you have to be 15 and up to read a newspaper, PG-13 kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
It also did not specify that birth control information or appliances were obscene. I'm guessing they just mean birth control in general.
Birth control.
Appliances. Next to your toasters, your diaphragm, just all your appliances in one place.
Oh my God.
The newspaper thing, I think, came from advertisements for abortion drugs that were found in penny papers.
Oh.
So I think what happened is people, I don't think abortion or an abortion pill were used openly. So I think they tried to do a subtle, low-key kind of ad that's just that said something around the lines of pills to treat women. Sorry, I read that totally wrong. Pills 2 women as treatment. Oh, offered pills. That's why. I skipped the word before. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. It's called reading the whole sentence, Lacey.
Yes.
So they offered pills to women as a treatment for obstruction of their monthly periods.
Huh.
So it's like, take this pill if you don't want your monthly period to work well. And that was kind of like a wink, wink, we mean abortion.
Right. Okay.
So it's kind of like when people put like, what are they called? Like, when you're not a sex worker, like you're a sex worker, but you're like the fancy kind. You're like a, I keep wanting to say hostess, but that's not what I mean.
Oh, an escort?
Yes, an escort. That's the word I was trying to think of.
Fancy kind.
When you're like an escort and you have like an ad in the paper and you're like escort services, doesn't, you know, obviously it's not going to say like, I'm a sex worker because that's not legal in our country.
Right.
But I mean, I think it's kind of implied. I mean, I don't want to say that all escorts do this. Of course, I'm sure that there are just regular escorts who don't dabble in the sex worker area, but some may.
Right.
I don't know. I've never used one. I've never been one. No one would pay me to be around. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't say that.
No, I'm just kidding. So Comstock went on a mission to fix these weaknesses, like the lack of newspapers that were included, and it fucking works. Because of course it did. Why wouldn't it?
Of course.
God. So in 1873, his lobbying efforts for an anti-pornography legislation passed, becoming the Comstock Laws.
Wow.
So yeah, fun. And it's called anti-porn legislation, but it does not actually just encompass porn. It actually went after erotica, contraceptives, abortion medication, sex toys, personal letters alluding to any sexual content or information, and any information at all that regarded any of those things. So like a pamphlet on an STD, out of here.
Whoa.
Get it out of here.
Oh my God.
Burn it.
Inappropriate.
Send him to jail.
Call the cops.
It's ridiculous. And I feel like that's such a shady political move that happens all the time, where you're like, oh, we want to stop porn. Utah actually had a whole thing like maybe, I don't know, I used to live there last year or something, but they called porn the new drug, maybe? They treated it like, it was like the opium, like, crisis epidemic thing. Like, they treated porn like that. It was crazy. I don't know.
That's fucked up.
It was insane. But I feel like that people do that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you're trying to figure out American healthcare and you're like, oh, but defund Planned Parenthood, and that's in there.
Yeah.
It's like,
totally.
Why did you slip that in there?
I
Like,
know.
that's like you're just trying to get that part in. You're not even worried about the rest. That's
Exactly.
basically what he did.
Oh my God.
So I feel like porn probably maybe wasn't even at the top of his list.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was something else. I don't have proof, but
Oh God. I bet this guy's a freak too.
he has to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or he wasn't enough and needed to just like loosen up a little.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's probably
Like,
it.
just get your
Lot
dick
of
wet a
guilt.
little.
I know.
And calm
Like
down.
masturbate or something.
Yeah, listen.
Ease up.
Go
relax.
Go borrow some of your dead friend's erotica.
Like, don't pretend you didn't.
You know you peeked at it when you packed up his stuff.
Oh, love my dead friend's erotica. Best
I just
kind.
have a whole box of it in my closet. So basically his justifications for just being even more fucking ridiculous and unconstitutional were, of course, for the children. When is it not?
They're our future. They are the future.
It's all about the effects that this obscene literature would have on them. Corruption in schools, in the home, all because of obscene literature that youth just had all this access to. They're just walking around and people are just like fucking throwing birth control and porn in their faces when they were just trying to buy a candy bar.
I know.
It's so sad.
Unreasonable.
It's so sad. And of course, also, we can't forget the sanctity of marriage.
Of course.
Because when is it not when is something not trying to kill the sanctity of marriage, you know? I mean, you telling me you want to give LGBTQ people equal rights? What about my marriage?
Oh, God.
You putting mocha froyo on the menu? Corrupted my marriage. I feel like it's always like that. They're always fucking worried about the sanctity of marriage.
Of course.
It's like, you know what messes up the sanctity of marriage? Being stupid.
That's right. That's right. You can quote Lacey on that.
Listen, you're having trouble. Just don't be stupid.
Don't be so fucking stupid.
Just don't be so stupid. Your marriage will be fine. Trust me. Dr. Lacey. It's terrible. And of course, and this is another one of those things that's just like fucking, if all of those reasonings didn't feel more 2017, I don't know what else would, but this helps. Comstock mainly focused on voicing his concerns to families of privilege. This is how he gained a majority of his support. What the fuck else is new?
To make my eye roll.
What else is new?
Audible.
Oh, it's even worse. This person doesn't even matter to the story, but I'm just going to tell you about this guy.
Yeah.
Clinton L. Marion. He actually did the work of introducing the bills to the House of Representatives, and he said, it's going to hurt. I already have heartburn. Obscenity was a direct threat to manhood, and that in order to protect the children, obscene materials needed to be confiscated. It's a direct threat to his manhood.
Masculinity is so fragile.
Oh my god. Fucking porcelain glass.
I know.
Crystal glass. What's the most fragile thing ever?
Yeah. That manhood
is right before that. You're wrong. It's not whatever you just said to your radio. It's manhood. Manliness. Masculinity.
That's right.
It's so stupid. It's so hard.
God damn.
And I'm just so glad we've grown past that as a country.
I know. Isn't that great? We are the future.
So we have this new law. We have this new Comstock Act. And who better to just be in charge of fucking all of it than Tony himself. And so the Postmaster General appointed Comstock special agent of the U.S. Postal Service. It sounds so made up. Excuse me. Special agent of the U.S. Postal Service? The reason it sounds so made up is because it was.
Oh my god.
They completely made up that for him. They just made that position up and they gave it to him. But also Postmaster General sounds really made up too.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, that's what the person, the I don't know what they actually do, but I worked for an agency and USPS was one of our clients, and they're like, we did like a keynote thing for the Postmaster General. She was a woman. I think her name was Teresa. I don't know.
Cool.
But yeah, it's just like all I can think of is just like someone like saluting, just being like, Postmaster General.
You're right. Weird. Yeah, it sounds like a Clue character.
It does, doesn't it?
The Postmaster General
was in the dining room with contraceptive. So they made up this position for him, and they gave him the right to govern mail with a gun.
Oh, how?
They had a gun. He shot letters.
The letters.
They just gave him a gun, and they were like, "Go take care of the mail for us."
Oh my god!
Which is
that is wild.
It is wild. It's, you know what it is? It's full-on comstockery. I've ever heard it before.
Now I understand why.
Now we understand how we use it. That's some ridiculous bullshit.
Serious comstockery.
It's some ridiculous. Yeah.
Comstockism.
Yeah, that's it.
Comstock. Jesus Lord, that is just classic Tony.
Yeah, so Tony. It's so Tony. Fucking Tony. So Comstock went from being like all up in the action, kicking down brothel doors, bathhouses, dragging people into the street to be arrested. And that was all the New York Society for the Suppression of Vice, right? And now he's like the fucking postal police.
God.
Which doesn't make any sense, because you're like, what are you gonna do all day?
I know, that's like the least of your concerns.
Yeah, so here's why.
Not that you should be concerned about any of this shit, but like...
Yeah, seriously. You should be concerned about a lot of things, but not that.
Yeah.
Mainly, how much you're masturbating. I'm really concerned.
Not healthy.
Yeah. So the reason this was like a big win for him is because the thing he was doing with the New York Society for the Suppression of Vice was could only be done in New York. But the post office, the United States Postal Service, it's a federal office. So now he has power over the entire nation.
Oh my God.
He can just fucking take his crazy town nationwide, fucking up everybody's fun.
That's so sad.
Isn't it?
That's just heartbreaking. I don't know. It's
like some fucking dude in the middle of who knows where, Iowa, just wanted a nudie bag, and Comstock's like, oh fucking wow.
Party's over.
The shit kills. I know. My friend. I have no idea what his name was. He just doesn't even have one. His name was my friend. So he had the power to pretty much do everything. He could open any envelope or package he wanted. He could read all the contents of that package. He could destroy everything in it, all of it. And then he could arrest the person who sent it or the person who was going to receive it, or both.
Wow.
He could just fucking arrest people for mailing shit.
Oh my God.
God, I'm never gonna not pay my postage again.
Right?
Terrifying. You never knew. True stories of the U.S. Postal Service.
That is insane.
Special Agent Postal Service guy. Fucking crazy, right?
That is crazy.
I feel like you just mostly read birthday cards from grandmas. It's like
that's it. That's
90% of the mail. That's all people send.
But I mean,
mail?
back then there were probably tons and tons and tons of letters because it's the only way you could really communicate.
That's true. It's like sexting was.
Yeah.
Snail.
Real slow.
Yeah, I need a way
not
to.
an instant time like with Snapchat.
Like sex plus snail mail. Sex mail? No, that's just what it is. I'm not clever. I'm gonna go back to just sex.
That's right.
Road meeting. And like, how do you even choose? Like, it's not like you can get like a dog to sniff out like nudes from inside. It's a dog. A sex stopper dog.
Oh,
he's just sniffing out. He's like, perv, touch this one. I can tell. He had clammy hands. I can smell it.
God. Oh God.
And also just like get a life.
Yeah.
Tony, fucking work on it.
Ripping open all of this mail and going through everything. So I imagine if one thing was like, he's like, all right, this is clear. Do you have to like fold it back up and then like put it in the same envelope and make it look like it was never open? Or like he went through this whole process of...
I'm gonna guess by Tony's attitude so far that he didn't do that. He just was like, fucking put some tape on it, rub some dirt in it, put it back in the mail, and then you just get like this fucking sweet letter. It's like a letter from your boyfriend from overseas. It's like asking you to marry him, and it's just like some old white dude already read it, and then he just like crumpled it back up.
Yeah, that sucks.
He was ruining lives, I'm sure of it.
Jeez.
I actually do. I just asked the question of how you even do that, but I actually have in here his methods for the way he went about getting into people's business and being just fucking rude. But his methods were to target what he called easy prey, and this was considered like mail order services and low rent shops that sold cheap nude photographs. So I'm guessing you just say like, okay, this business on this street is known to sell pornography. I'm gonna wait till they take their shit to the post office. I'm sorry, I'm burping.
That's really it's okay.
Oh
that's
God,
fine.
hey, it's fine. I'm gonna just wait till you drop your shit off at the post office,
right? And
then I'm gonna open it, and then I'm gonna be like, gotcha, red-handed, and arrest him.
I knew it.
So, but the really sad and fucked up thing, and it's very infuriating, is that the people, these easy preys that he was really targeting, were usually super, super poor people and very uneducated people. And so most of them failed to like even present a defense for themselves at all. Shit. So they just like went straight to jail.
Whoa.
And they didn't even begin to know how to protect themselves or defend themselves in any way. So it's just like, fucking, you there in this poor neighborhood, go to jail.
Yeah.
End of story. There's no whatever.
Wow.
But he didn't stop there. Once he got all the poor people out of the way, he moved on to the indecency and high culture which was basically, I keep saying basically. I don't know why I keep saying that. I'm sorry. It's prosecuting prominent art gallery owners for selling European paintings containing partially clad women.
Come on.
Yeah, right? But here's the thing. People started caring when he did that, which is like, fuck the poor. Okay, we're not going to worry about the poor people. Get him out of here. But excuse me, you're coming after my Monet. I don't actually know Monet.
Monet.
I don't know. That's just the only thing I can think of.
That's probably right.
I don't know if Monet did. I mean, I know Monet is an artist. I just don't know if he actually ever did like nude women, but it doesn't matter because it sounded.
Doesn't matter. It's funny.
I ruined the joke, but it's fun. It was funny before I started talking again. But
of course,
yeah, fucking of course.
Yeah, like
people start paying attention when he comes after art, which is I get it. Art is important, but also so are people just because they don't have a lot of money.
Exactly.
And his attempted censorship of traditional art really triggered a groundswell of opposition. Even the fucking New York Times got involved. They criticized him for like overstepping his bounds.
Oh, now, of course.
Now he did. And by 1887, so that's like 4 years later, I think. Or what year did I say? I'm scrolling back up because I can't remember. 73. So actually 14 years later.
Right.
Wow. Fucking 14 years he did that shit before anyone even got like even slightly mad. Whatever.
Holy shit. Yeah.
Fuck.
That is wild.
Yeah, okay, so 1887, a lot of his supporters started reconsidering over concerns for free fucking speech.
Oh.
That's been in the Constitution the whole time, people.
Yeah.
He's been fucking this up the whole fucking time. And now you're like, wait a second, though. Free speech because art, though. But he honestly, he didn't give two shits. He was like, I don't even care. And he just like kept prosecuting everybody. He's just fucking...
Well, I mean, he's getting away with it. And it's, oh my God.
Oh, okay. So during his time, Special Agent of U.S. Postal Service. Burt Macklin. No. That's a Parks and Rec joke. He confiscated 15 tons of books, 284,000 printing plates, 4 million pictures. He had 0 conversations with anything with a vagina. I made that up. Actually, no, just guessing.
Nice.
But honestly, those numbers don't even touch the like letters and brochures and medical journals and contraceptives that he also took.
Yeah.
So 15 tons, books, 284,000 printing plates, and 4 fucking million pictures.
What are printing plates?
So I think that's like and I'm guessing. At this time, I'm not sure what that means, but I would assume it means kind of like what newspapers used to print the thing. So like the thing that they put the ink on and then it shoved it down.
Right.
That could be that. That would be my guess.
Yeah. So he would just like stop the publications from happening by taking those plates. Okay.
So he would just come in and then they can't print their things if he just takes the whole whole printing plate. I think that's what that is. And he claimed to have prosecuted over 3,600 defendants and overall destroyed over 160 tons of obscene literature.
Oh.
So much. So, like,
sad.
Fuck your Valentines. Fuck your birth control. You get nothing. Any educational materials related to reproductive health topics? Out of here. Even fucking medical textbooks. So, like...
Wow.
That's like how broad his definition of that is. If you're if you are ordering an anatomy textbook because you're going to be a doctor, you cannot send it through the United States Postal Service. You cannot learn about the body you're going to be like chopping up later because fucking obscene. No.
That is so unsafe.
Yeah.
And fucking just so inconvenient. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to get this textbook.
And like so stupid. It's like no one's going to jerk off to a medical textbook.
No.
Like no one wants to see that. It's fucking like layers of your muscles and your tissues like peeling off of eyeballs. No one wants to see that.
No one.
God.
Jesus.
And if you were convicted for violating the Comstock Act, you could get up to 5 years in prison it says with hard labor. I'm guessing that just means you have to work, I don't know, work during the 5 years.
Yeah.
And you could be fined up to $2,000.
Whoa.
And that's in the 1800s.
Yeah.
So it's like a fuck ton of money.
That's like $3,000.
That could be anywhere between $3 and $40,000 million. We don't know, but it's a lot.
Yeah, I imagine.
I don't know exactly how much it is, but it's a fuck ton. And if you were caught distributing the like lewd materials through the mail or importing them from abroad, it was even like stronger penalties and fines.
Wow.
So cool. So I'm guessing that like 5 years and $2,000 is like if you were maybe a recipient of some of these things, and then if you were actually sending this stuff to people, more time. So the federal government, they pretty much gave Comstock full responsibility for implementing this like moral censorship over everything we sent through the postal service, which like is everything. It's everything that you can't like walk down the street and hand to someone.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Man.
And they gave him that responsibility for the 42 years until he died in 1915.
Wow. So he just died.
Yeah. He probably was like mid fucking envelope opening and just like crept over on top of it.
Maybe he finally masturbated.
Yeah. That's what it was.
And it was just really overwhelming.
It was. It was too much for him to handle.
Fuck. He didn't even. He got away with it.
Yeah, no, nothing
happened before anything.
Also, just because he died in 1915 after 42 years of doing it, doesn't mean it ended. The Comstock Law lived on for nearly 100 years.
Wow.
100 fucking years, Robyn. That's so long.
That is a fucking long time.
That's
like up to recently.
Yes.
What? So.
Like, I'm pretty sure most of our parents were born around the time that the Comstock Law finally fucking got taken down.
Yeah.
Gross.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I can't believe I've never even heard of this.
Yeah, me neither until I Googled it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was finally terminated by the U.S. Supreme Court, but I don't think all at once. I think pieces of it were dismantled, and then finally it was just all gone.
Right.
And
there's so many parts to it. There's like the mail, and then there's like
the fucking pornography and the you know.
God, so wow.
And it has like the Comstock Act has a really long history of people trying to fight it. Hopefully eventually we'll cover all of them, but a few of the different cases that kind of helped break down parts of the Comstock Act. One is 1, Inc. v. Olson. It was a 1958 case in which the Supreme Court granted free press rights around homosexuality. And I think that was because of this whole Comstock Act was really fucking up magazine subscriptions.
Right.
So it's just like if you have a magazine that Comstock or whoever took over after him thought was just like, it's like you can't have a business anymore.
Yeah.
This is stupid. That's so stupid. In 1958. That's like near the end of it. That's so far after.
Wow.
There was another woman by the name of Mary Ware Dennett, and she worked with the ACLU to fight for the right to distribute sexual education material. So she had to go in front of a judge and prove, or at least convince the judge to say that this is totally just for educational purposes, and it is to help the children. And it's like, that's still something we fucking can't get past today.
Yeah, we can't get that right.
No, sex education is just something that everybody's always got a fucking problem with.
Yeah.
It's like they're going to learn one way or the other. Just let them learn in a safe environment and in an age-appropriate way.
Yeah.
Stupid. Of course, there's the work of Margaret Sanger, who is the founder of Planned Parenthood. And she did a lot to fight for women's reproductive rights in general. But there's one particular federal case, which is the United States v. One Package of Japanese Paresis. It's such a weird name for a Supreme Court case, but it said that the federal government couldn't interfere with the doctors providing contraception to their patients. And I think it had something to do with like Margaret Sanger was in Japan. She was trying to send the medication back to the United States for a doctor friend to use. And then it got confiscated, and she probably got arrested if she was able to get like a federal court case.
Shit.
There was only one group that continuously attempted to repeal the Comstock Laws, and they were called the Free Love Movement. Love it.
Love it.
Free love. Love it.
Aw.
But they basically believe, there we go again. They believe that it embodied the sexual oppression of women.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly. Yes. Correct. Definitely. And they actually became like Comstock's #1 fucking target. He probably like busted in their doors and was like, special agent, postal service with his badge and shit. Amazing.
Give me a gun.
Look, I got a gun
Can't
too.
quite figure it out yet, but
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Jesus Lord.
I'm surprised that he wasn't against guns. They're, you know, if you turn them the right way, kind of penis shaped, you know? If, you know, men are so lucky. Of course, even Roe v. Wade kind of played its own part in that. And then finally, Griswold v. Connecticut, which happened in 1965 and will be where we pick up in part 2 of this.
Hooray!
Yay!
Yes, and that's Estelle.
Fuck, that's
Griswold.
Estelle Griswold.
Okay, cool.
We'll talk about her. We'll talk about what she did. Yeah, I'm excited because it'll be one happy.
Yeah. Oh, good.
I mean, I'm sure there will be some that's like, the fuck, but for the most part, it'll be more on the positive end of things.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's some depressing shit in here.
Yeah, that is, like, how did you find out about all this stuff? Like, what were you watching a lot of porn?
No, actually, it's really stupid. I just wanted to do, I kind of was like, I think I want to do some sort of Supreme Court case for the next episode because it's kind of a little different than what we've done in the first couple. And then, you know, it's always interesting to really dive into like Supreme Court cases. Not always, but sometimes.
Yeah.
If you enjoy learning about the Supreme Court, there's a really cool podcast called More Perfect that is specifically about Supreme Court cases, and it is so fucking good.
You've told me to listen to that. I haven't yet.
No promo over here, but seriously, you should listen to them because they're really fucking good. They're really fucking good. And so I kind of just went on Google and just typed in like Supreme Court cases concerning reproductive health care, and the ACLU has a website that just lists all of the kind of historical cases that really made a difference in reproductive health care and reproductive rights. And I just picked one. I was just like, oh, Griswold v. Connecticut seems really cool. So I just started Googling it, and then I saw I knew about the Comstock laws from something else, but I kind of just knew that like birth control was illegal for like 100 years. I didn't really know much about him or what it was. So when I started trying to just put some background information on the case, I stumbled upon it and then ended up just having so much fucking information.
Right.
That I figured it was worth sharing because some of it's so weird. It's so weird that like 100 fucking years. The 60s? The 1950s? It's crazy.
It's insane. Like that's... Because I could totally see something like that happening again.
And honestly, yeah. Oh my God. The when birth control did get decriminalized, it started with only married people, and it took like another like 7 years. I don't know the exact number, something around like 7 or so years for single people to be able to get birth control.
Wow.
Legally. So like in this room currently, I could have birth control, but you could not.
Wow.
For like a whole 7 years in the middle.
Well, fuck you.
Yeah.
That's insane though. You have to like prove that you're married. And
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I don't want to talk about it too much because it's kind of what the next episode is going to be kind of concerning.
Totally.
So I want to save it for that, but it's people suck.
People fucking suck. That's
If your name's Tony, maybe don't go by that.
Yeah.
Maybe change it. If your name's Comstock, comstockery. It's your new favorite word.
Yeah.
Just go around saying it. Own that shit, you know? Start a cult. The Comstockiness.
Comstocky.
That's what you're gonna call like the short people in your group. Like he's kind of Comstocky, you know? Oh, the people who follow you can be like Comstockers.
Yeah.
See, Tony, you should have gotten a PR person. They could have helped you. They could have helped you build that vocabulary.
He had so much fun with that name, but he was just a mean, grumpy man.
He was a mean, grumpy man. He had a stupid mustache. He had a mustache that was like missing the piece right here. So it was just like mustache
like a
on two.
goatee. Well, like a goatee
It was
cut
a
out.
reverse goatee.
Yeah.
Where his only mustache under the nose and then on both sides of the lip, but not under the lip. It's
So
weird. It's stupid.
Oof. Yeah, so he wasn't getting any.
Yeah, I'm telling you. He's never seen a vagina.
He's never gotten
Never
it.
seen
No.
one.
No. Or probably a penis, because I wouldn't be surprised.
True. Like every time he
just
peed,
avoided.
he had to like look at the ceiling. He couldn't even touch it, so it's just like wherever it goes, you know. I can't touch it. That's lascivious.
God.
It's Comstockery at its finest.
How did he have any? I can't imagine him having any kind of happiness. Was he ever married?
Dude, I
Do you
don't
know?
even know. I didn't even think about it. I didn't really look at him like a human. I did more like he was the fucking worst.
Yeah. Lord. Yeah, so I need to look up a picture of this dude.
Yeah, I can. We will
jerk off
show.
to
Yeah.
it.
The ultimate revenge. Let's just okay, ladies, gentlemen. Listen, we're in this together. Okay, let's all masturbate
Everybody.
to a picture of Anthony Comstock. Just shit all over his memory and legacy.
Yeah, and that will fix 2017.
It will, and then maybe we can all come together.
Let's
Get it?
Lord. Comstock all over his face.
Yeah. If he did have a wife, what if she was like, I'm Comstock.
Oh my god. He would never make her come. Are you
No,
kidding?
it's true. That's true. Faked it every time for sure. Okay.
Good. Oh,
It's like
so
funny.
mad.
It's not funny.
Yeah,
And I hate
know.
it so much. But it's fine. It's good. Now we
God
all
damn it.
at least know a bit about our history concerning lewd things. And maybe we can make better choices in the future.
Yeah, let's hope so, man. Let's fucking hope so. I'm so sick of this shit.
Jesus Christ.
It sucks how close to home it sounds.
I mean, there were so many
really
times
upsetting.
when I was writing it and I was just like, this is fucking today.
Yeah. Oh.
God. I know. Listen.
Everybody just donate to Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, do donate to Planned Parenthood.
Mike Pence's name.
Do that. That's funny. Vote for the right people.
Yeah.
And be
Stick together.
decent.
Just be nice. Everybody
God,
just be
just
decent. Let everybody
fuck.
do their fucking thing.
Yeah.
And if you hate it,
Listen.
then it's not your fucking business.
You can gamble and you can have sex with people and you can curse all you want.
That's fucking right.
Because it's a free country. All right.
Shit.
Fuck. Okay. Let's drink some wine.
Let's drink wine about it.
Let's just drink wine about it. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
We'll see you next Frisky Friday.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. You can find us on the internet at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Our handle is @Frisky History. You can also listen on SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes. Google maybe has one. Anywhere podcasts are available.
You can direct your questions, concerns, feedback, and weird sex stories to our email at friskyhistory@gmail.com.
Yeah. So, bye.